Okay, so what are the conditions for a function to be a random variable? That means under what conditions a function becomes a random variable. That is the topic here. Under what conditions the function becomes random variable. So here we have two conditions. What are those? We have two conditions. What are those? First one is here and second one is here. If these two conditions are satisfied, then the function can be called as random variable. Okay, the function can be treated as random variable if it satisfies the two conditions. Okay, all of you see the first condition. What is the first condition? The set capital X less than or equal to small x shall be an event for any real number small x. Here, once again read the sentence. The set capital X less than or equal to small x shall be an event for any real number small x. Here small x is a real number. Okay. Now what is the probability of this event? Probability of capital X less than or equal to small x is equal to the sum of probabilities of all the elementary events corresponding to capital X less than or equal to small x. Okay, that means, for example, um, with the help of example I am explaining, if you take the value of small x equal to 5, then you have to add all the probabilities corresponding to x less than or equal to 5, capital X less than or equal to 5, because the small x value is taken as 5. That's why capital X less than or equal to 5. So all the probabilities corresponding to capital X less than or equal to 5 must be considered here. Okay, capital X less than or equal to 5 means capital X takes the values of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, these 6 values X will take. Okay, so capital X will take the values from 0 to 5. That is the meaning of this sentence, because small x value is taken as 5, for example. Okay, it is not a fixed value. Just to explain this condition, I have taken small x value as 5. So capital X less than or equal to 5 means capital X takes all the values from 0 to 5. Next, all of you see the second condition. The probability of events capital X equal to infinity and capital X equal to minus infinity be 0. So what is the probability of the two events? Capital X equal to infinity, capital X equal to minus infinity. These two are the events. What are the corresponding probabilities? Both are zeros only. Okay, because infinite value means it is not a finite value. We cannot say the probability. Okay, for that. So x is equal to infinity and x is equal to minus infinity. Corresponding probabilities are zeros only. Okay. To define the value for a probability, it must be a finite event. That means it must be defined. But what is meant by infinite value? There is no specific value for that. Infinity means what is the number? There is no specific number. That's why we cannot say the probability. The corresponding probabilities are defined as zeros. So probability of capital X equal to minus infinity is 0. Probability of capital X equal to infinity is also 0. Okay, if a function satisfies these two conditions, then it can be treated as a random variable. Okay, so these two are the conditions for a function to be a random variable. Is it clear? Okay, next, go to the next one. Classification of random variables. Classification of random variables. So how many types of random variables we have? 3 types. What are those? First one is discrete random variable. Second one is continuous random variable. Third one is mixed random variable. So these 3 types are the different types of random variables. Okay, now let us discuss first one, discrete random variable. What is meant by discrete random variable? A random variable capital X has a discrete set of values, that means finite set of values is called discrete random variable. Okay, a random variable capital X has some finite set of values, that is called discrete random variable. Example is given here, the number of printing mistakes per page of a textbook. Okay, take a textbook, you can count the number of printing mistakes per single page. It is a finite value because the number of printing mistakes may be 10 or 20 or 30, so that is countable. Okay, we can count the number of printing mistakes per single page. So this is a finite value, that's why this example is considered for explaining the discrete random variable. Okay, so discrete random variable means a random variable capital X has finite set of values. A random variable capital X has finite set of values. So this is called discrete random variable. Example is here, number of printing mistakes per page. We can count the number of printing mistakes per single page. Okay, this is a finite value, that's why this is a discrete random variable. Next, go for continuous random variable. What is meant by continuous random variable? The name itself indicates that a random variable capital X assumes all the values within a given interval of time. Okay, within a given interval or within a time duration. You may take any time duration, you may take 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. Okay, so for a specific time duration, the random variable capital X takes all the real values. That is called continuous random variable. What is the example given here to explain continuous random variable? The exact time of arrival of telephone calls in between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So in between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., we cannot say exactly at what time the telephone call will arrive, isn't it? So we cannot say the exact time. Okay, so this is continuous. The telephone call may arrive at 2 hour 1 minute, 2 hour 1 minute 5 seconds, 2 hour 1 minute 10 seconds, 2 hour 1 minute 10 seconds, like that. So this is a continuous set of values. Okay, so we cannot say the exact time with respect to minutes and seconds. It is somewhat difficult to predict the time exactly at which the telephone call arrived. Okay, so here to explain the concept of continuous random variable, this example is taken here. What is this example? The exact time of arrival of telephone call in between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So within this 2 hours duration, including minutes and seconds, we cannot say exactly at what time telephone call will arrive. Okay, so this is a continuous value. Okay, the telephone call may arrive at 3 hours 5 minutes 2 seconds, or the telephone call may arrive at 3 hours 3 hours 7 minutes 2 seconds. So like that, this random variable assumes or takes continuous set of values. There is no finite value, so it has so many number of values or so many number of times with respect to minutes and seconds. So this is continuous random variable. Next, what is meant by mixed random variable? The random variable whose properties are mixed for both continuous and discrete random variables. Okay, so here the random variable capital X. Here the random variable, mixed random variable means the name itself indicates that mixed means it is a combination of both discrete and continuous random variables. Okay, so mixed random variable means it is a combination of both discrete and continuous random variables. So what is the example given here? First see the definition. The values of mixed random variable are both continuous and discrete in a given sample space. The random variable takes all the continuous and discrete values. That is called mixed random variable. What is the example here? See the example. Telephone calls received in a particular interval of time. Telephone calls received in a particular interval of time. This is the example considered here. Okay. For example, if you take the same 2 to 4 p.m., 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., the same examples, the same time duration, if you consider, we can count the number of telephone calls in between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. We can count the number of telephone calls, but we cannot say exactly at what time the telephone call will arrive. Okay, so it combines the properties of both discrete and continuous random variables. Okay, it combines both the properties of discrete and continuous random variables. Okay, telephone calls received in a particular interval of time. Telephone calls means here the number of telephone calls can be counted within the particular duration, but within the same duration we cannot say exactly at what time the telephone call will arrive. Okay, we cannot say the exact time at what time the telephone call will arrive. We cannot say, but we can count the number of telephone calls in between the particular duration, for the particular duration. So this is the example of mixed random variable. Okay, so that is what here. Here the number of telephone calls are discrete and the time of receiving calls is continuous. So it is a mixed random variable. I think it is clear. This definition is clear, I think. Okay. The number of telephone calls can be counted. So this is a finite value. That's why this is discrete. But we cannot say the exact time at what time the telephone call will arrive. We don't know. So that is continuous random variable. So here both are mixed here. That's why this is mixed random variable. Okay. Is it clear? Okay. Next one, distribution function. We have distribution and density functions. Here, this distribution function is called cumulative distribution function. Cumulative. What is meant by the word cumulative? What is meant by the word cumulative? What is meant by the word cumulative? Cumulating means all the values which are less than or equal to particular value. Okay. So here, see the definition. Let capital X be a random variable and small x be a number. Let the event be capital X taking a value less than or equal to small x. Then the cumulative distribution function can be written as, remember this point, cumulative distribution function can be represented with the letter capital F. Suffix here, cumulative distribution function can be represented with the letter capital F. Cumulative distribution function can be represented with the letter capital F, and the random variable x can be written in the suffix of small x. So capital Fx of x is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to small x. This is called cumulative distribution function, whereas small x value is ranging from minus infinity to infinity. Okay, is it clear? So here cumulative distribution function is defined already. Now see the graphs. Capital Fx of x versus x. Here also capital Fx of x versus x. Okay. So for discrete random variable, the graph will be like this. Whereas for continuous random variable, the graph will be like this. Okay. If you draw the distribution function, the graphs will be like this for discrete random variable and continuous random variable. Okay. So here One example is given for you, one small example problem is given for you to explain distribution function here. Okay, again series, what is meant by cumulative distribution function? Capital Fx of x equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to small x. This is called cumulative distribution function. You have to write capital letter F only to distribute to denote the distribution function. Okay, so in case of discrete and continuous random variables, the distribution function will be like this: cumulative distribution function. Next, see the example problem here. First, what is the problem? The distribution function of a discrete random variable is given by the table. Okay, remember one point: if the random variable is discrete, then it can be defined with the help of table. Okay, so discrete values means finite values. That's why you can frame a table, isn't it? So that's why the table is given for you to identify the points, to identify the values easily. We have to find probability of capital X less than or equal to 2. That is the question. Okay, the distribution function of a discrete random variable is given in the table itself. So we have to find probability of capital X less than or equal to 2. How can we find probability of capital X less than or equal to 2? Here, what is the value of small x? 2, isn't it? Small x value is 2 only. Okay, now find the cumulative distribution function. So before that, see the table. Capital X takes the values of 1, 2, 3, whereas corresponding probabilities are given as k, 2k, k. Okay, we know that sum of the probabilities is equal to 1. Not only for this problem, for any problem, sum of the probabilities is equal to 1 only. So k plus 2k plus k is equal to 1. K plus 2k, 3k plus k, 4k is equal to 1. This implies k is equal to 1 by 4. Okay, we have to add all the probabilities to know the value of k, because we don't know what is k. So to know the value of k, we have to add the probabilities and equate to 1. Equate them to 1. You will get k is equal to 1 by 4. Next, you have to find probability of capital X less than or equal to 2. Okay, less than or equal to 2 means here the random variable capital X takes the values which are less than or equal to 2. See the table, less than or equal to 2 means here 2 is present. Okay, equal to is also written, that's why you have to consider 2 also. Next, what are the values less than 2? Only 1 is here, 1 is present here. So you have to consider these two values only, because 3 is greater than 2. So you should not consider this one. Okay, you should not consider 3. Only 1 and 2 you have to consider. So probability of capital X less than or equal to 2, this can be written as probability of capital X equal to 1 plus probability of capital X equal to 2. You have to add these two values only. So what are the corresponding probabilities? K plus 2k. So k plus 2k is equal to 3k. So this is equal to 3 into k value is 1 by 4. So 3 into 1 by 4 is equal to 3 by 4. Isn't it? So probability of capital X less than or equal to 2 is equal to probability of x equal to 1 plus probability of x equal to 2. You have to add the probabilities of values which are less than or equal to 2. Okay, so you have to add these two values only, because 3 is greater than 2, so you are not supposed to consider this value. Okay, so this is the procedure for finding the distribution function of a discrete random variable. Okay, isn't it? Distribution function means capital Fx of x only. Distribution function means capital Fx of x. Capital Fx of x is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to small x. That is what already I told you. So probability of capital X less than or equal to 2 is calculated. So this is the problem, model problem. With the help of this problem, we can understand the concept easily. That's why a small problem is explained here. Okay, next, what are the properties of distribution function? See the properties. We have 4 properties. Okay, in this class, I will cover these 4 properties. What are the properties of distribution function? See the first property, capital Fx of minus infinity is equal to 0 and capital Fx of infinity is equal to 1. Okay, how can we prove these two? Capital Fx of minus infinity is 0. Capital Fx of infinity is 1. How can we prove? So as per the cumulative distribution function, capital Fx of x is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to small x, isn't it? So substitute minus infinity in place of small x. So in place of small x, you have to substitute minus infinity first. Okay, so substitute minus infinity instead of small x. Capital Fx of minus infinity is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to, instead of small x again you have to write minus infinity, which is equal to how much? Is there any value which is less than minus infinity? Is there any number which is less than minus infinity? No, because the limits are minus infinity and infinity only. Any real number or any value lies in between these two values, these two, minus infinity and plus infinity only. There is no number which is less than minus infinity, isn't it? So here capital X less than minus infinity means there is no value which is less than minus infinity. So you have to neglect that case. Okay, here we have two cases. What are the cases? Capital X is less than minus infinity. Capital X equal to minus infinity. Capital X less than minus infinity means it is meaningless because there is no value. Here within the brackets it is written like this. There are no real numbers less than minus infinity. There are no real numbers less than minus infinity. So less than minus infinity, there is no number. That's why neglect that case. Remaining case. What is the remaining case? Capital X equal to minus infinity. All of you go to the previous one, because here in the conditions I explained that capital, what is the probability of capital X equal to minus infinity? 0 only. Okay, here also you have to write 0. Why? Here also you have to write 0, isn't it? So once again I am explaining, capital Fx of minus infinity can be written as probability of capital X less than or equal to minus infinity. Here we have to consider two cases. What are the cases? Capital X less than minus infinity, capital X equal to minus infinity. Capital X less than minus infinity means there are no real numbers less than minus infinity. So neglect that case. That can be treated as 0. Again, probability of x equal to minus infinity is 0 only. Okay. So you have to write 0 here, isn't it? Probability of capital X equal to minus infinity is 0 only. Capital probability of capital X equal to minus infinity is 0 only. So you have to write 0 here. Next, see the next one. Capital Fx of infinity is equal to 1. Capital Fx of infinity is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to infinity. Here also we have two cases. What are the cases? Capital X is less than infinity, capital X equal to infinity. Two cases. So separate the cases. Capital X less than infinity means there are some numbers less than infinity. So that's why there is corresponding probability which is nothing but 1. Because sum of the probabilities is 1. That's why sum of all the probabilities is 1 only, na? That's why you have to write 1 here. Okay. So here we include all the values taken by x and their probabilities. Okay. We need not to think about the number of probabilities. Okay. It may take it may take the number of probabilities. Whatever it may be, the sum of probabilities is 1 only. That's why probability of x less than or equal to infinity can be treated as 1 only. That is already explained. Here the probability of x equal to infinity is 0. So go to next one. Here we have two cases. Fx of infinity equal to probability of x less than or equal to infinity. Here we have two cases. Capital X less than infinity, capital X equal to infinity. Probability of capital X equal to infinity is 0. Okay. That's what I have shown now. Now, what is the probability of x less than infinity? Sum of probabilities is 1 only. Okay. It may take a number of values. We need not to worry about that. Anyhow, sum of probabilities is 1. That's why you have to write 1 here. Okay. Is it clear? So this is the first property of distribution function. Next, go for second property. If we consider two values, x1 and x2, such that x1 is less than x2, then the event capital X less than or equal to x1 is a subset of capital X less than or equal to x2. Hence, we have to prove that capital Fx of x1 less than or equal to capital Fx of x2. Okay. So here, this can be proved by taking two examples separately, and finally we have to combine the proved statements. So in the first table, capital X, the random variable takes the values 1, 2, 3, 4. The random variable capital X takes the values 1, 2, 3, 4. What are the corresponding probabilities? Probability of X is 1 by 2 for first value, 1 by 4 for the second value, 0 for the third value, 1 by 4 for the fourth value. Okay. So now, what is the value of fx of 2? What is the value of fx of 3? First calculate fx of 2, capital Fx of 2. Capital Fx of 2 is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to 2. This is cumulative distribution function. Capital Fx of x is nothing but probability of capital X less than or equal to small x. Here the small x value is 2. So here you have to add the probabilities up to 2 only, because small x value is 2. So you have to add the first two probabilities. 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 is equal to 3 by 4. Next, you have to calculate capital Fx of 3. Capital Fx of 3 means probability of capital Fx of 3 means probability of capital X less than or equal to small x. Small x value is 3. So capital Fx of 3 equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to 3. You have to add all the probabilities up to this one, third entry. So 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 0. 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 0 equal to, again, you will get 3 by 4. Okay. Here both are same. Capital Fx of 2, capital Fx of 3. Both are same. Both are 3 by 4 only. So capital Fx of 2 equal to capital Fx of 3. Okay. So this is first example. Next, consider another example. Here in this case, the random variable capital X takes the values 1, 2, 3, 4. Corresponding probabilities are 1 by 4, 1 by 8, 1 by 2, 1 by 8. So now again calculate capital Fx of 2 and capital Fx of 3. Okay, same procedure. Follow the same procedure. What is the value of capital Fx of 2? Which is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to 2. That means up to second entry you have to add 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8. You will get 3 by 8 only. Okay, 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 is equal to 3 by 8. Next, capital Fx of 3. How can we calculate this one? Probability of capital X less than or equal to 3. Probability of capital X less than or equal to 3. That means you have to add the probabilities up to third entry in the table, because we are finding the cumulative distribution functions. Cumulative means we have to add the corresponding probabilities up to the considered value. Okay, so capital Fx of 3 is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to 3. You have to add first three probabilities in the table. 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8, 1 plus 1 by 2. 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 plus 1 by 2, which is equal to 7 by 8. Okay, so here observe the values of capital Fx of 2 and capital Fx of 3. Which one is greater? Capital Fx of 3 is greater value. So you can write like this. Capital Fx of 2 is less than capital Fx of 3. Okay. Now what is the conclusion from these two examples? So for the two different examples, we have proven two statements. So combine this. Capital Fx of x1 is less than or equal to capital Fx of x2, isn't it? In the first case, both are equal. In the second case, capital Fx of 2 is less than capital Fx of 3. So by combining these two, you will get like this. What are the values of x1 and x2? x1 is 2, x2 is 3. Okay, x1 is 2, x2 is 3. Why should we consider two different examples to prove this property? Did you understand? Why should we take two different examples? By taking the single example, we cannot prove both the statements. Okay, we may prove this statement or we may prove this statement. Any one we can prove by taking the single example. That's why we have taken two examples here. Okay, is it clear? Here in the both examples, the random variable capital X taking the same values 1, 2, 3, 4. But whereas the corresponding probabilities are different, isn't it? Here we have to consider two different examples to prove the two statements. Because both are different statements, we cannot prove both statements at a time by taking the single example. That's why you have to consider two different examples. You have to prove two different statements, and finally you have to combine like this. Okay, so what are the values of small x1 and small x2 from the given example? The x1 value is 2 and x2 value is 3. Okay, in both cases x1 is 2, x2 is 3. Okay, so here we have to prove that capital Fx of x1 is less than or equal to capital Fx of x2. So here we have two cases, one is less than, one is equal to. Both can be proved by taking two different examples only. It is not possible to prove both cases at a time by taking the single example. Okay, that is the case here. Next, to see the third property. Third property is probability of small x1 less than capital X less than or equal to x2, which is equal to capital Fx of x2 minus capital Fx of x1. That's what we have to prove. Okay, so to prove this statement, consider scale. I am considering scale here. Okay. Here, which one is greater value, x1 or x2? From the given statement only you can tell the values, not values. Which one is greater, we can conclude. x1 is greater value or x2 is greater value? Obviously, x2 is a greater value and x1 is the lesser value among these two values, isn't it? Okay, because it is written like this, x1 less than capital X less than or equal to x2. That means the random variable capital X is taking the values in between x1 and x2, including the value of x2. Okay, x1 is not included because equal to symbol is not present here, isn't it? So the random variable capital X takes the values in between x1 and x2 only, in between x1 and x2, including x2. x1 is not included because equal to is not present here, only less than is present here. Okay, equal to is not present here, that's why x1 is not included. Okay, so here the random variable x takes the values of in between, first value is x1, second value is x2. So indicate the values. So this is x2, this is x1. Okay, is it clear? Now divide this portion into, divide this region into two separate regions. All of you see the proof. All of you see the proof. How can we divide this region into two regions? How can we divide this one into two regions? Here, probability of capital X less than or equal to x2 is divided into two regions. What are those? Capital X less than or equal to x2 can be written as probability of first region is capital X less than or equal to x1 union x1 less than x less than or equal to x2, isn't it? So here, what are the two regions? This is the entire scale what I have taken. Random variable capital X takes values on this scale. It may be any value. So here, less than or equal to x1. This is one region. And another region is x1 less than x less than or equal to x2. Okay. Here, two regions are mentioned here. What is the first region? All of you see the scale. What is the first region? The random variable capital X takes the value less than or equal to small x1. So less than or equal to is also present here. That's why x1 should be included here in this region. Okay. Whereas in the second region, x1 is not included. That's why I did not join here. Okay. Just I have drawn like this. I did not join with x1, isn't it? Because x1 is already included in the first region. That's why you have to draw like this. Don't join with x1. x1 is already included in the first region because here we have less equal to symbol also. Okay. Whereas in the second region means just after x1, starting from just after x1 up to x2. This is second region. So by combining these two regions, you will get x less than or equal to x2, isn't it? Capital X less than or equal to x2 means starting from x2, we have entire region. Okay, whatever may be the values the scale has. So this entire region is divided into two portions. Okay, scale means you may draw up to any value. Okay. Here, probability of capital X less than or equal to small x2 means including x2, we have all these values. So this entire region is divided into two different regions. That's why you have to put union symbol here. Union means combination. Capital X less than or equal to small x1, because x1 is included in this first region. That's why you should not include in the second region. That's why you need not to put equal to here. Okay, just after x1, you have to consider each and every value up to x2. Okay, so these two regions we have considered. Now, after applying probability of capital X less than or equal to small x2 is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to small x1 plus probability of small x1 less than capital X less than or equal to x2. Because we are applying probability, this union becomes plus. Okay. Already I told you, union is present in between these two regions. That's why after applying probability, it becomes plus. Okay. Now, take this probability to left hand side. Take this probability to left hand side. Then it becomes minus. So probability, first of all, what is meant by probability of capital X less than or equal to small x2? This can be written as capital Fx of x2, isn't it? Cumulative distribution function. Capital Fx of x equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to small x, that is cumulative distribution function. So instead of this one, you have to write capital Fx of small x2. Probability of capital X less than or equal to small x2 can be written like this, capital Fx of x2. Next, probability of capital X less than or equal to small x1. Probability of capital X less than or equal to small x1. This can be written as capital Fx of small x1. This is also called cumulative distribution function. Next, plus this probability remains the same. Okay. Now take this to left hand side. Take this to left hand side. Capital Fx of x2 minus capital Fx of x1 is equal to probability of small x1 less than capital X less than or equal to small x2. This is the statement of third property that is proved here. Okay, is it clear? Okay, to prove the third property, you have to consider scale. Okay, so on the scale, you have to mark the values of x1 and x2. x1 is a smaller value, x2 is a larger value. How can we say? From the statement itself, we can judge which one is smaller value, which one is larger value. So mark x1 here, x2 here. Next, divide this entire region into two separate regions. Okay, so first, what is the first region? Capital X taking the values which are less than or equal to small x1. That means x1 is included here. In the first region, x1 is included. So you need not to include x1 again. So in the second region, you have to write probability of small x1 less than capital X less than or equal to x2. Okay, you are not supposed to put equal to symbol here because x1 is included in the first region. So after applying probability, this union becomes plus combination. Okay, next left side probability can be written as cumulative distribution function. Again on the right hand side also, the first term can be replaced with the cumulative distribution function, capital Fx of x2 and capital Fx of x1. Next, the probability term remains the same. Now take this term to another side so that you will get to capital Fx of x2 minus capital Fx of x1 is equal to probability of small x1 less than capital X less than or equal to x2. So this is the third property. Very easy and important also. Okay. This same concept can be used later. So remember this point. You can take scale. Then you can understand this proof very easily. take scale, mark the values of x1 and x2. Okay, divide the entire scale into up to x2. We have to separate the scale into two different regions. Okay, greater than x2 also we have different values on scale, but we need not to consider because x2 is the limit here. Okay, x2 is the upper value here for our example, for our according to our statement. Okay, so we need not to consider the values which are greater than x2. Okay, we have to consider the values which are less than or equal to x2 only. That is our statement. Okay, so don't think about the values greater than x2. Next, separate this entire scale up to x2 into two regions. In the first region, include x1. In the second region, don't include x1. Greater than x1, you have to consider up to x2. Okay, so after applying probability, this union becomes plus. Probabilities can be replaced with cumulative distribution functions, and then this one will be appeared. And this one will be occurred. Next, fourth property. This is also very easy. Let us complete. Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. Power is interrupted. Okay, see, is my voice audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all of you see the fourth property. Probability of capital X greater than small x is equal to 1 minus fx of x. Here, what is meant by fx of x? Capital Fx of x. Cumulative distribution function. What is the definition of cumulative distribution function? Capital Fx of x is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to small x, isn't it? Okay, so now let us prove this fourth property also. Here, what is meant by sample space? What is meant by sample space? Capital X less than or equal to small x plus capital X greater than x. So entire possible values or possible outcomes in an experiment is called sample space. Here the outcomes are separated into two groups. First group is capital X less than or equal to small x. Second group is capital X greater than x small x. Okay, this is called sample space. Okay, now apply probability. So probability of capital X less than or equal to small x plus probability of capital X greater than small x is equal to probability of sample space. Probability of sample space is 1 only because sum of all the probabilities is 1 only. So probability of sample space, sum of probabilities of all possible outcomes in a random experiment is 1 only. Sum of all the probabilities of possible outcomes in a sample space is 1. So here consider 1 instead of P of S. Okay. Now P of capital X greater than X becomes 1 minus P of capital X less than or equal to small x. Probability of capital X less than or equal to small x can be treated as distribution function, cumulative distribution function, that is capital Fx of x. Okay. So this is the statement. Which one is given in fourth one? So that is also proved here. Okay. So all of you look at the properties. Already the time is completed. So within 1 minute, I will give brief introduction.